Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of usage with your Inktense colored pencils. So much fun to play with. I felt like a little kid. So a couple things I'm going to be using this Winnie and Walter Happy Birthday stamp set from Catherine Puller's website, as well as my Inktense pencils. First thing I'm going to do for both cards, because I'm going to show you a little variance on both, but the first thing I do the same exact step is I'm going to heat emboss these little circles. Some have words, some are just decorative, with silver embossing powder. So I put the sticky ink on, I put the powder on, and then I heat set both cards in that. I have had this stamp set for over a year and I have never used it. So I said, this is ridiculous. Get your stuff out and get to crafting. So that is why I pulled this out for today. It's actually a birthday set, but I'm turning these into congratulations cards for men. And if you're like me, you struggle with male cards. I don't know why that is like an anomaly for us, but I do struggle with them. So today I got two out of the way. Yay! Okay, so here I am putting some stars with black VersaFine ink, sticky already, and adding some clear embossing powder. The card is quite busy, but I just was into it. I went and I spent 4 days at Disney World with my family, and my husband came down and looked at this card and said, "Were you inspired by Disney?" And I think I absolutely was, with the circles and the stars. It really does kind of look Disney-ish. Okay, so anyway, here I'm doing my coloring. So for the first card, I'm using like a blue ombre kind of effect. And I'm going in and I'm drawing very strong lines with my colored pencils. You'll see how I do it differently in the other card, but here I want that distinction. I want a very distinct line between the different colors. I'm not blending a whole lot here, and so that is why that line is so dark. But I go through and I make my dark lines, and then I just scribble in. That's why this is so fun. You can just scribble away and then you get to paint. So if you don't have these and you feel like this is something you could add to your color mediums stash, I would recommend them purely for the joy. They really are a blast. So I'm doing my third color here, and then you'll see when I go through, I'm going to just take my watercolored marker, my watercolor brush rather, and I'm just going to paint away. So that was a blast. So while I'm doing that, you can just watch that. I'll tell you a little bit about my trip to Disney World with the family. We took our two kids out. My husband had to do something for work in Boca Raton, which is about 2 or 3 hours south of Disney. And then we thought, why not drive out and make a week of it? And I have to tell you, I seriously think I was more excited than the kids. I've never been to Disney World, and it was truly amazing. I only saw 3 of the 4 parks, so we went to Magic Kingdom, and we went to Animal Kingdom, and then Epcot. And Magic Kingdom was a late start. AJ wasn't feeling so well, my son. He's 3.5, and so we had to take him to urgent care to make sure that he was okay. So turns out he did actually have strep throat, so we got him some antibiotics, and we carted him around Disney, and he just got to kind of enjoy the fun anyway. So he's doing very well now. So anyway, we did those 2, Magic Kingdom, and then we went to Animal Kingdom, which I think might have been our favorite, the second day. And then Epcot was awesome, and if you ever go, you have to go on the Soarin' ride. It is breathtaking. It's only 5 minutes, but it's amazing. It's like you're up and you're flying over all of these very famous parts of the world, and it's just you in the air. It's amazing. Anyway, okay, back to the card. So here I'm finished, and this is what the end result looks like. It looks kind of spaceship-ish. Again, I think Epcot, last place I was, kind of stuck with me. So that's how that turned out. And then this second card, I'm not going to show you all of the coloring. I'm just going to show you how I made some very, very light lines with my different colors of green yellows. And this was just to give me a guide of how much space I wanted to do in each. So I went through and I colored each just like I did on the last one. Again, I'm not going to show you every bit of that. I'm going back to just the watercoloring. And then I am doing a whole lot more blending here just to show you how these can blend beautifully. If you're going in between the colors, if you're going from a very light down to the dark again, you definitely want to make sure you wipe it off on your paper towel that I have to the right. And so as to not really cross-contaminate, I want to blend, I don't want to mush. And so just make sure that you do that. I went through it again and went over those lines just to blend out a little bit more, and that's the second one. And that card just makes me so happy. It's so bright and lively. I just love it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my sentiment here, and this is Go Forth and Conquer. And again, these are congratulatory cards, mostly for promotions. And this, the Go Forth and Conquer came from a Hampton Art Stamp Set that came with a stencil I got at AC Moore. So I don't have a link for that. So I'm sorry about that. All right, and throwback, I get to bring out some of my circle punches. I know you all have them. When's the last time you used them? Well, here I have pulled out a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1 3/8 inch. And I am punching away here. I'm going to, one of the cards you'll see, obviously you saw it in the beginning, but is going to have those circles pop up, and then the other card is going to have them recessed. So this one is the recessed card. So I put down my circles on some black cardstock. I wanted that black edge frame for my card, just to give it some nice contrast. And on this one, there was a lot of warping with this technique, so I just filled it up with some 3M foam tape, and it went down nice and flat, so it was perfect. And so just setting that right now, and then I'll move on to the next card. The next card is going to be where I pop up the circles instead of recess. And since I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure that I get rid of that warping with some really super strong score tape. And so that will lay it down perfectly flat on my black cardstock. And here I just use some dimensionals to pop all those circles up. Last step was to adhere them to gray card bases. I felt like that was the card that kind of went the best and still kept it pretty masculine. If it was up to me, I'd probably put it on some super bright yellow and then make it glitter. But, I mean, it is up to me. But you know what I mean. It's a mail card. So there we go. There's the close-ups of both of the cards. I hope you had fun with me today. I hope you give this a try. And if you have some Inktense pencils in your stash, you better get to it because they are a blast. And if you don't, think about it potentially adding them too, because I think they're so much fun. Again, all the supplies will be listed below in my YouTube description. And if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and leave them for me. And if you like the video, go ahead and thumbs up. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.